Today, we're going to be looking at the Batman family villain Humpty Dumpty, created by Dan Slott and Ryan Sook, who debuted in Arkham Asylum Living Hell in August of 2003. Real name Humphrey Dumpler, Humpty Dumpty gets his name from one of the most well-known nursery rhymes in the English language. We all know how it goes. Now, the rhyme in its earlier forms is believed to have been posed as a riddle. In the 17th century, the term Humpty Dumpty referred to a drink of brandy boiled with ale, and later was used as slang for a short or clumsy person. Referring to the subject in the riddle as Humpty Dumpty may have been a way to misdirect you from the answer, an egg. This is why Humpty Dumpty, the character, has long since been portrayed as an anthropomorphic egg. He's become synonymous with the riddle's solution, with everyone knowing the answer though. With there being only one clear solution, can this riddle still be a riddle? Not really, but that's the beauty of language, isn't it? It's always evolving. DC's Humpty Dumpty shares a similar appearance to the famous nursery rhyme character. He's a large man, rotund, with an egg-shaped head. He frequently speaks in rhyme and has an obsessive compulsion to repair anything he sees as broken. The first glimpse we ever saw of him in the comics was following a fight in Arkham's cafeteria. All of the inmates were ordered to clear out, but Dumpty remained. Aaron Cash was told that he was holding on to something. The guards tell him to stand up and turn around quietly, and it's revealed that he's put the pieces of his chicken back together, which is a little disturbing. Dumpler was a model inmate and given stuff to fix by the asylum's warden, like the Mad Hatter's looking glass or the ventriloquist dummy Scarface. He would befriend a new inmate named Warren White, who later became the Great White Shark. Check out my breakdown video on him if you'd like more information as to how he became so eerily disfigured. Dumpty believed everyone was taking advantage of White. He was being ripped apart by everyone there, and it was about time that someone helped keep him safe and put his pieces back together. Ah, how thoughtful. When Warren wonders how a seemingly peaceful guy like Humphrey ended up in Arkham, we are treated to his backstory. Dumpler's childhood and early life was filled to the brim with tragedy. His family's house was knocked down by foolhardy construction workers. His dog was run over by the ice cream man, and his parents were crushed by a Christmas tree, on Christmas Day no less. Thing must have weighed a ton, or had a lot of sharp ornaments. Dumpler's entire outlook on his life was that it was always getting worse for him, and that whatever bad things were happening to him now couldn't be as bad as they seem at first. That's depressing. When returning from getting supplies, working for his abusive grandmother at her factory, depicted in the story as the old woman who lived in a shoe, the train meant to pick him up drove right past him. To prevent this from happening again, he went to the local library and signed out as many books as he could on trains. After finding the one that didn't stop for him, he decided to take apart its brakes and put them back together again. Only the train didn't stop for him the following day. It kept on going and derailed, hospitalizing everyone on board. He felt glad that the train failed to pick him up. Even though the passengers were all crippled, he just figured bad things happen. Dumpler would go on to fix more things in the city, like elevators and traffic lights, causing more accidents and injuries. An ATM would eat his bank card, so he repaired it, which led to the machine and several others in the area dispensing free cash to anyone using them. The security cameras caught Humphrey tampering with the ATM, and he would be nicknamed Humpty Dumpty, the super saboteur, by the newspapers. Wanted by police, he attempted to leave the city, but the boat he was planning to board sailed away because he was late due to the clock of the clock tower being an hour behind schedule. In tears, his OCD made him climb all the way up to the top of the clock tower so he could make the necessary repairs. However, when the clock struck 1, the hands flew off of it and crashed into various large signs on the rooftops of Gotham, causing them to fall upon the citizens below. Like ashes, they all fell down. Batgirl would go after Humpty Dumpty, and during the scuffle, he was knocked off the tower. Babs would catch him before he hit the ground, but the weight of him caused both her shoulders to pop out of their sockets. Dumpler then brought Batgirl to his home to fix her up, and she saw that his grandmother had had a heart attack, and that Humphrey had taken apart her body and then stitched it back together again to make it good as new. After ending his story, Dumpty says Warren is the worst guy he's met in the asylum. He just knows if given the opportunity, he could fix him up too, before shutting the lights off and going to sleep. Ugh. During Batman Leviathan, Humpty Dumpty posed as Santa Claus in order to give stolen toys to children at a shelter. We see him trying to repair a car that is rolled over. He's approached by an imposing man who has superhuman strength, and lifts and rights the car by himself. The man asks Dumpty if he's heard anything about children that have gone missing in the area, and Dumpty responds by hitting the man with a concealed crowbar and racing away in the vehicle, not before running the man down for good measure. When we see Dumpty arrive at the orphanage, he finds all of the little angels sound asleep. He places the stolen toys beside their beds as Batman and Robin appear behind him. Batman would question Dumpty, wondering what he's doing at a children's shelter. Robin also finds it odd that despite the lights being turned on, the three of them talking, him even yelling, the children haven't made a peep. That's because the children are dead and have been for a while. The heroes start losing their cool, rightfully so, but Dumpty explains he had found them that way. He finds broken things and tries to put them back together. Dumpty had been searching for parts near the river. That's when one of the children's bodies floated towards him. The next day there was another and another. He was sad that they had all died so close to Christmas, and hoped that maybe, just maybe, fixing up toys for them would somehow put the children back together again. You feel bad for this man. Obviously, he's out of touch with reality, and that makes him dangerous, but his heart is in the right place. He has selfless tendencies. It's just he's at the mercy of his obsessive compulsion. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't understand how or why what he's doing is wrong. Oh, in case you were wondering how the kids died, it was due to an illegal fighting ring for children that only the lowliest of criminals would gamble on. The losing competitors would be dumped in the river via a trap door. The one orchestrating this sick tournament was Mr. Zaz, who intended on fighting and killing its winner, which he considered a walking corpse, and a mark on his body simply waiting to happen. Gross, huh? Humpty Dumpty hasn't made a lot of appearances in DC Comics, usually just as a side or background character. Doing the research on him, I got to thinking though, and wondered why Batman's Rogues Gallery has so many villains centered around children's books and nursery rhymes. I mean, you've got Dumpty, Mr. Toad, Solomon Grundy, and a bunch from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Mad Hatter, White Rabbit, Tweedledum, and Tweedledee. Obviously, having these adults dressed as colorful children's characters is a surefire way to highlight their lunacy. but I think they work with Batman so well because, much like Humphrey Dumpler, Bruce Wayne is someone who was robbed of a childhood, his innocence, and in many ways never left that period of his life. Batman represents a child that has become perverted, and these villains listed are all deranged and perverted versions of the beloved children's characters they represent, warped beyond most recognition. DC's Humpty Dumpty is a misunderstood and somewhat sympathetic individual, but like a lot of the inmates at Arkham Asylum, his deep psychological issues make him a threat, given the right circumstance. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the character down in the comments section below, though. I want to thank you for watching my supervillain breakdown today, and if there are any specific villains you'd like me to analyze in the future, you can nominate them over on patreon.com/channel NerdGasm. If you enjoyed the video, think about subscribing and hitting that bell icon for notifications. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.